I joined Tennis Australia 3 years ago, 6 weeks before the 2008 Australian Open, and don't recall a lot of what happened because it was about surviving rather than actually planning and doing anything. But the main thing that we actually had to deal with is when I arrived here, the basic plan was Tennis Australia would run all year on the bare minimum of equipment, and then we'd get to the Australian Open, the nice IBM people would bring in reams of equipment and so forth. We'd put all of that in, but it's a lot of work, and trying to interface everything and do all of that sort of work, it was basically lifting yourself up by your own bootstraps to actually do that. And I thought, this is not the way I want to work. We sat down during that year and I said to the IBM guys, this is where I want to be, just to be able to scale up for the Open and not break sweat when we're there. What we did was effectively redesign our entire infrastructure on the server front. So basically took out all of the nice IBM servers we had in and put some beasts in instead in the rack-mounted servers for last year. And that way, when it came to the actual tournament, nothing actually changed for us. Is that those servers just fired up and they took it on board and ran through absolutely beautifully. Technology doesn't stand still. And if any of you are IT people here, you know, you're continually fighting this. But we bought new stuff last year. And I'm going, great, you stop doing new things, I'll stop buying new stuff. But we're seeing huge amounts of expansion. Over in this little corner here is a Bevy Electronics, which is their tournament control, communications, but also a PDA in which they keep score. They enter the score in there, and that then goes back to the tournament server room. That's then processed with all the statistics put in place, and then that's pumped out over to the IBM web room over at Hisense Arena, and also to Channel 7, which appears on the bug on the screen, which is what they call that little scoring block. So that's all fed through, goes to the IBM website, and then published out to the world. Tennis Australia, as you're knowing, we're putting huge investment back into tennis at the moment. It's just enormous what we're putting back in. And we see it's not just us saying we want to put technology out there, it's actually the players out there who are saying we want PDA access to stuff, we want social networking, we want the ability to find out via augmented reality where our local tennis centre is. And we've got to supply all of that. More is also expected during the Australian Open in terms of what we do, is that we've got more and more journalists on site, all expecting lots of wireless network, a lot more people expecting information in corporate areas, so on and so forth. And some of it you can't even plan for. We just have to keep putting more and more wireless out. Eventually we'll have the whole site covered with wireless, but those people are using resources, they need access to resources. So my general rule of thumb is that we effectively, for each Australian Open, basically have to double our infrastructure each year. Now, at some point that's got to stop because we'll use up all the resources on the planet, so that's a bad idea. But my other issue as well is that there's nowhere to go here. Is that we're effectively landlocked, and I can tell you it's fist fights over room space around this place. So the server room we have here is not a particularly big one, but I know what we've got in there would have taken up a room this size 5 years ago in terms of what we've got in there. The main thing we've been working on with IBM, from my point of view, is actually working as a year-round position and scalability. Because the last thing that people want to hear is, you know, I need more money, I need more servers. I don't know about you guys if there are IT people here. People get really annoyed when you say you've got to get more servers. We're planning ahead, working with the IBM guys. We put the stuff in place and therefore we're set for each year. But we have to continually revisit because there's more and more required. The whole thing now runs on technology. Is really, while we have fallback procedures, the whole scheduling, and also my team internally have developed the umpires roster, the ball kids roster. We also run the electronic meal allowance system, and we also run the accreditation for all the scanning of this stuff. So masses of technology underneath all of this. But our number one strategy is that you don't notice it. So you come here and you think, is there any computer stuff going on here? I think the key thing that IBM does is actually helping from the planning stage onwards, is that we're able to get there. Once we've decided what our priorities are, we then go to IBM and effectively start discussing the infrastructure that we need to actually progress with that. And in a lot of cases, what we think we need, IBM will actually come back with bigger and better ideas in terms of what we need to do. I think the plus there is that in many situations we're actually working off the catalogue while there's bigger and brighter things coming down the pipeline. The other thing is that in Melbourne we have one of the best IBM hardware teams in the world. I'll put in a speak for them. And those guys, they're just part of our team working with us, not only throughout the year but also during the Open as well, as that they just work with us to help us plan, design and be able to cope with what we need to do.